Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
Radio City Talk.
My name's Mick Coyle, Mental Health Extra for a Tuesday following on from this week's Mental Health Monday with the brilliant Lee Butler. Thank you to everybody who got involved in that. The reaction on social media has been absolutely huge. Thank you to everybody who's been able to contribute and get involved in that particular conversation. I know Lee's Facebook pages are awash with more information and his ongoing journey and ongoing story as well. Thanks to everybody who sort of responded in various different ways, celebrating Lee talking about his story and being so open and honest. I thought it was absolutely fascinating. If we've got time, we'll come on to that with Jake Mills from Chasing the Stigma, national charity based here on Merseyside. Afternoon, Jake.
Hello, how are you?
And we're off somewhere after the show as well today, which we'll talk about as well, because it's good news. But I want to start with some bad news. And this is the more I think about this, the worse the story gets. The number of suicides in the UK has risen for the first time since 2013. This is the breaking news while we've been on air today. Around 6,500 people took their own lives last year, an increase of nearly 12% on the year before. Most of them, 4,900. Were men. So the suicide stats are out. We had been experiencing small decreases in those suicide numbers, and people were starting to think maybe that's a positive sign. The numbers have just shot up again, nearly 12% on the year before. Most of them are men, significant number of women as well. And I'm feeling a little bit of despair going through those stats, because having done the show and spoken to people who have experienced suicide within the family, for those people who've been on the brink of suicide and have come back from that, yourself included, that no good ever comes from suicide. Like, each one of these deaths are preventable deaths, and I think the solutions to these problems already exist and are out there. We just have not, as a society, governments, successive governments, have not been able to square this circle and get people to the services that they need, invest in those services, invest in those people, but also invest in hope and invest in people's right to happiness. And now the stats come around again and the numbers are going up again and more people are dying by suicide, preventable deaths.
Yeah, it's I think probably the most damning thing about this is that it was probably expected as well. It's worth pointing out that as part of possible reasons why they've gone up is changes in how suicides were recorded, and that came in halfway through the year, so we don't know how much that has affected the numbers, but anything short of a reduction is a tragedy. And it's important to remember that, you know, we talk about these as statistics and numbers, but these are lives that are being lost and lives that are affected by the people who have been lost. And yeah, you know, if I'm going to be totally brutally honest about it, I think there seems to be I don't know, I think the people who can make a difference and the people who can make that change and who can change the way that things are kind of done in the system and putting the money into it, just seem reluctant to do it. They just seem reluctant to do it.
But if this, Jake, was a virus, if this was a bug that was biting us in the night and we were, you know, picking up fatal illnesses from a mosquito or something like that, everybody would be out doing everything they can, buying bug spray, buying nets. And the government would plan for that, and they'd be giving them away free to children. They'd be giving away free to the elderly. But there's none of that. There's like and we talk about stigma, and people say, no, because we're talking about mental health now, because people are more open about mental health, that, you know, the stigma's gone around mental health. It's absolutely not at all. No. Like, you still cannot say, like, people when but suicide, though, you know, very individual thing, and it's suicide. You know, sometimes people just make decisions. I think every suicide is a human being with a human story who started out in life with hopes and dreams and aspirations, and for whatever reason, that hasn't worked out for them. But that doesn't mean to say that suicide was the solution for them. It was the only solution that they could see, because nobody else provided another solution, and they hadn't been educated and empowered to know how to make any other decision.
And that's why I can't help but feel that the people in charge, and we're talking politicians mainly here in government, just do not care enough. We're looking at these statistics that are not getting better. They're getting consistently worse every single year, and nothing's been done about it. I totally agree with you. We would all be experts on a virus, on a bug, on signs, symptoms, look out for, things we can do to look after it. We would all be experts about it. It would be everywhere. We'd be getting leaflets through your door explaining what to do, how to look out for it. There'd be special money going towards it. Now, mental health awareness in recent years has shot up. It's been brilliant, the awareness, but services have remained stagnant. So on one level, you've got more and more people aware, and then they can't then get the support and the services. Now, I haven't had a chance because these statistics literally came out on the way here, so I've only had a quick glance of it. But previous to these statistics for 2018, based on 2017, almost 3/4 of the people who died by suicide in 2017 were not known to mental health services. 74% of people who died by suicide were not known to mental health services or hadn't been seen in more than a year. 3/4 people who died without even getting any help. Looking further back, between 2006 and 2016, 75% of people under 20 who died by suicide. Across all those years, 10 years, 75% of people under 20 who died by suicide were not known to mental health services. The pathways are not there. The pathways are either not clear or non-existent. When people do then get that pathway to that primary or secondary support, they're on a waiting list. They're on thresholds that are so high that people are going in and they're being told, you're not ill enough. And they're saying, well, I will be. If I don't get this help, I will be. And it's a case of, well, you'll have to leave and then become ill enough and come back.
I spoke to somebody who had been suicidal and they were starting to feel that way again, and they rang up the organisation that had been dealing with that situation, and they said, are you feeling suicidal now? He said no, and they said, call back when you are.
Mm-hmm. Where's the intervention? Where's the prevention? Why are we allowing people to be at crisis? Because do you know what, that person, when he is feeling suicidal, might not think to phone. He might not think, I'm going to phone and I'm going to reach out for help, because he might just think, what's the point? And this is what we've got to do, and it's really difficult and heartbreakingly kind of tough to be able to run a national charity where we're trying to spread a message of hope, where we're trying to say to people there is always hope, when we're trying to say to people there's always options, when things like this is the reality.
Knife crime is a terrible stain on our society. The impact of knife crime doesn't touch the sides of and yet when it's knife crime, the Home Secretary's finding new funding for the police. People are campaigning for more police officers. People are calling for more police officers. Now, arguably, that's the correct response, because we've spotted a problem. Let's deal with it. Mm-hmm. There is an acceptance, is there not, of suicide, that as a self-inflicted thing, we couldn't have. There's nothing we could have done. It was a self-inflicted thing, which just tells you that none of these people who make those decisions have ever actually sat down and had a conversation with somebody who works in the mental health field, sat down and worked with somebody who has felt suicidal, someone who has been suicidal, or families who have gone through the suicide of a family member. Because I've done that, and I'm just a bloke from Chorley. And you've done that, and you've had to set up a national charity because you've realised that the message is so important. But you're just a bloke from Crosby. But why are people not out on the streets marching about this?
And you go beyond that. You look at James's Place, which is Claire Milford Haven, who lost her son to suicide, has had to create something. Where we're going next, which we'll talk about shortly, Paul's Place, where Agnes and Joe and Kathy, who have lost a brother and a son to suicide, and they're creating something. On one hand, why is it down to those people? Why is it down to them to have to go through such horrific things, to go through loss, to be able to see not only what's needed, but then to do something about it?
Because go on.
However, on the other hand, they are the people who hold the key. They are the people who have that answer, who have that access, who can see it from a different point of view. Who, okay, if the NHS, if government is saying we can't do this, or it's going to cost too much, or it's going to take too long to implement this, it's going to be over 5 years or whatever, fine. But then they have to be looking at these people who actually hold the answers, who are part of the community, who can access people, place where you can go and not necessarily be on a waiting list. You can go and be around other people. That third sector, the community groups, they're the ones who hold that answer. And that's why we created the Hub of Hope, was to show people the alternatives to that primary and secondary care.
And every single one of those organisations can be part of a solution, the solution, if only we can get the message out to them. And also, I'm not saying it needs to be an accredited service, but if the Metro Mayor's office or someone like that wanted to have a thing where he said, right, I'll take responsibility, not for the health service, but for the community mental health response, an accredited system that in every doctor's surgery, there was a link to the Hub of Hope where you could find local services who want you to call, who have set themselves up specifically to help people who are in the depths of depression and anxiety and stress and even suicide. That's something that could be done, but it takes people to do it, because there doesn't seem to be a Westminster drive to do something like that, to say, you know what, we need to make sure that every single person needs to know what to do when somebody's feeling suicide. And it might be themselves, but it might be your best mate or your mum or your dad. Because at the moment, people's response to suicide is the bloke on the train who goes, well, you better get on with it then. Yeah. Or, well, it's a bit of a selfish thing to do then, isn't it? That might be your dad. It might be your brother. It might be your mum. It might be your auntie. It might be your best friend. And you do not have a clue what to do about the whole thing. And you wouldn't know what to do if it was happening to yourself. And we just don't. We have like a huge gap in knowledge. We teach our kids the Green Cross Code. We teach them not to get in the car with strangers. We teach them to not give out their personal details online. We do not teach children that the biggest threat to them is actually potentially themselves. Statistically, they are the biggest threat to themselves. And it's a big black hole in people's knowledge.
And you know, we talk about when we done the display of children's shoes and said about how there's 226 school children who took their own lives in 2017, and we talk about the statistics to do with adults, but actually 50% of mental illnesses are developed by the age of 13. So if we are being able to talk to children, if we're being able to make that access to support better and easier for children at 13, we can be tackling that problem that actually might lead to a suicide at the age of 45. We can be getting it in school.
Councils declare climate change emergencies, don't they? And then we talk about getting electric buses.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever declared a mental health emergency?
I don't know, is the answer.
18 people. Is climate change killing 18 people in this country every single day at the moment? Because suicide is. And it'll kill that many next year and the year after that and the year after that. Per day, that is. 6,500. But I don't see anyone declaring war on suicide from a political point of view. There are wonderful organisations doing the work. Zero Suicide Alliance, set up with zero suicide in mind. They've set their stall out. They're giving out free training. You can go and find that training yourself. But are politicians saying absolutely that's right?
No, I think they're happy to let the likes of Zero Suicide and Paul's Place and James's Place and others just get on with it, and to allow them to do the work so they don't have to. And I'm almost tired of saying the same things over and over again every year, but literally nothing is changing.
Jake Mills is with us from Chasing the Stigma. Will, thank you for your message. Will, he says, I've lost count the number of families I know affected. It's horrifying. Tom said 10 years of austerity, cutbacks and underfunding of our service must be looked at as well. Various people having their say on social media on this particular story. Thank you for your tweets and your texts on that as well. We've got to find that hope, though, haven't we? You know, we're going to go to this event at for Paul's Place up in Bootle. They've got a new head office. They're going to be in Townsend Lane in Clubmore. Let me get that right. It's in Clubmore, isn't it? No, hang on. Let me get the details right here.
I thought it was.
Are we going to Clubmore?
I don't know.
That's where we're going,
You're driving, mate.
No, that's L13. That's where we're going. So they've got some funding. So they're going to be able to offer free suicide bereavement prevention counselling services to a much wider audience. So suicide bereavement and postvention counselling so that they can speak to people who've been impacted by suicide. the guys you mentioned before who set up that organisation, Paul's Place, have secured lottery funding to the tune of £338,000. Again, the difference being that they've experienced it, realised that the help is not there for them. They've got to be that help. They're able to make that announcement as part of an event today, which is being held at the Beacon Counselling Trust head office. There you go. I've got the address.
In Club Mall.
Townsend Lane. It is. Me and you are going to go down there. We'll take a microphone.
No, and you know, it is important to have that message of hope, because no matter who you are and what situation you're in any walk of life, we all need hope to get through, and hope has never been more important than it is right now, particularly with these figures coming out.
If you're suicidal right now listening to this, Jake, if you know somebody who is suicidal, what's the first thing they should do? If it's an emergency, it's 999, isn't it?
If someone's life is in danger, it's 999. Get them to a place of safety.
You will not be laughed at. They will not say you've called the wrong place. They'll not say that this is for people with broken legs. They will take action on 999.
Yeah, if somebody's life is in danger, there's crisis care teams. There is crisis messenger service that we've got on the Hub of Hope as well. So anyone who feels like they might be in a mental health crisis can text HOPE to 85258. There's other options, but if somebody's life is in danger, if they are suicidal and tend to act on that, then alert the emergency services.
So that's 999, or that text service as well. There's details up on the Chasing the Stigma page. I know James's Place have got a similar service as well, which you can find via their website, James's Place. Type that into your social media. And of course, hubofhope.co.uk. You can find mental health services close to you as well. But there are services, there is help out there. We can, I believe, bring those numbers down. Jake Mills, thank you for your time.
Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
On Radio City Talk.